I believe Neal Schon will always leave a light on for Steve Perry. And I'll tell you what I mean coming right up. Hello everybody, Gary Stuckey here. Welcome back to another episode of Steve Perry News and Journey News. Going to cover both of them today. Hope you're having a great Memorial Day weekend. Hope you're staying safe. But the new guys in the band, that's the new news from Journey, right? Randy Jackson's back, the dog, and Narada Michael Walden, and Jason, of course, on the keyboards helping out. But that's the big news, and some people are not happy. I can go online and they're dogging on Journey. They're saying the Journey is over. Journey is now a cover band. They're ripping on Neal left and right. I guess I'm a Journey fan. I'm a Steve Perry fan and a Journey fan. I love Journey. I love Steve Perry. It's like a kid whose parents divorce. You still love both of your parents, right? Not supposed to bash on one or the other. It does happen. But you love them both, right? And you take up for one or the other if you hear somebody talking about them, right? But that's just it. A lot of people are bashing a group that has changed over the years. Journey has changed. So when Robert Fleischman, who is a super cool guy, by the way, if you don't know it, real nice guy, when he was singing in 1977, he looked over at Ainsley Dunbar playing the drums and over at Greg Riley and smiled as they were singing, but those guys were gone in 3 years. 3 years later, different band, new lead singer, keyboards, drums. Were they a cover band then? No, they change. And I love Steve Perry. And the Journey sound will always be Steve Perry in my book, of course. But for them to keep going, right or wrong, they kept going. And, that's just how it is. And for me, it's better than having no Journey, because you still have Steve. Some people hold resentment like they're speaking for Steve. But I choose to love Journey, and I choose to love Steve. And I'm hoping somewhere, and a lot of people don't agree, but they can make amends and work on things in the future. But if not, guess what? I still love Journey. I still love Steve Perry, and they can continue without the hatred and without the finger pointing. Right? Thinking about Martha Quinn today, my friend, my pal. She loves Journey and Steve Perry. And those are two separate things these days, right? But you can do that. And back to my topic for Neal, he will always leave a light on for Steve, right? Just like when you were younger and your mom left a light on for you when you stayed out all night, showed up at 2 o'clock. She knew you'd come back one day, 1 hour, and the light would be on. She'd be waiting for you. That's how Neal will always be. That's just what I know. I do know this. Whether he says it, admits it, does an interview, those two guys, you could see it in their facial expressions when they met each other at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Try to prove me wrong. Those two guys care a lot about each other, regardless of what happens. And I do know, if you go back and look now, this coming up Thursday night, get your DVRs ready. It's a replay of Neal Schon on Sammy Hagar's show, the Rock and Roll Road Trip, from a couple of years ago, where Neal talks about Steve and his new album, all that the past and stuff like that. But he talks about how he's got this guy named Narada Michael Walden. He thinks Steve would really love. He said he don't know if those two will work together again in Journey, but maybe they can work together with Narada. He said Steve would love him, and Steve loves R&B, right? And I'm thinking of an R&B flavored album, Raised on Radio, with Randy Jackson, who is now back. He's back. So those two things Steve loved, Neal is leaving a light on for Steve Perry. And you could take it how you want it. You could ignore those facts, but that's the truth. And whether he comes back home or not, that light, it will always be on, I believe. It will for me too. Hey, until next time, everybody, whatever you do, don't stop believing. This is Gary Stuckey. God bless you.